Hello, darling. How was your week? Mine was great, actually. I want to tell you all about it. This next upcoming week is also chocked full. We have a lot to discuss today, okay? Let's get into it. Hello, world. Come inside the Dear Juju podcast. Thursday, my HGTV handmade home tour came out. It was a very exciting event for me. Now, I'm going to be dead damn honest, okay? On the email, it said HGTV and HGTV handmade. Now, HGTV's socials have over 8 million people. So I thought it was going to go almost to the world. Well, it just went to HGTV handmade. And that's fine. I'm still super grateful, but I did notice I put a lot more expectations on myself because I thought I was going to be introduced to 8 million of peoples. But it was great. The home tour was nice. I would have edited it differently. A lot of my skits and dancings made the editing room floor, but I thought it was a beautiful home tour, something that felt very sophisticated and grand and lovely. And I was so excited when that came out. And after a big win like that, I really like to enjoy, right? Because there's a time to plant and a time to harvest and then a time to eat, right? The fruits of your labor. And I feel like in this day and age, we are pushing a lot. And so the next day, I took a whole day off. Mentally, physically, emotionally, and I spent time with my 3-year-old daughter. We played hooky. That is going to go by so fast. She still has those baby hands, those puffy baby hands, and she still has the baby voice where she can't pronounce her R's. And I'm like, this is going to go by in a flash, and I want to make sure I soak it up. So that was a really beautiful thing that I did this week that I'm actually most proud of. I'm actually more proud of that than the other thing, because when you spend time with family that you enjoy and you're really spending time, I'm not talking about like, hey, check, I'm here. But when you put your phone away, you're super invested, you make the most out of the moment. That's just what makes life so rich, So I met up with one of my best girlfriends right now. We met up at this place called Son of a Gun in LA, and it has such amazing food. And she is doing so great. She just got a new job. She's making a buttload of money. And you know what I thought was so interesting to be across the table? Because I've been across the table when she was struggling and I saw her potential, but it seemed like the world hadn't caught up to her potential yet. And she was looking for a new job and she stood up for herself and she finally did it. She landed a dream job where she's in charge, where she's using all of her talents, where they're paying her a fantastic wage that she's so excited for. I'm one of those people that believes rising tides raise all ships. I love when other people are doing good because I'm like, yes, bitch, if it can happen for you, then it can happen for me. And I'm into that. And guess what? There is actually an energetic exchange in that. Let me tell you what I found out on the internets. Okay, now there's some kind of Tron, okay? I don't know, an electron, a neutron, I don't know, Jeff Bridges from Tron, some kind of a Tron, okay? An atom, if you will, actually does resonate in your aura and you do spew out an electrical charge when you're feeling good or when you're feeling bad. And it's very interesting because those charges can then come into your electrical aura. Okay, this is science. Okay, I saw it on the internet, so it's gotta be true. But there is something in, when someone walks in and they got stank energy and you're like, ugh, they just changed the energy in the room. That is scientifically what's happening. They're spewing their good or bad jizz all over the auras. She is probably a friend that I love and respect most right now in my life. So it just felt really good and it felt like a win for me just to see her win because I felt energized afterwards. She was spewing all those good wins and all that money and all that success into my aura. And I'm like, yes, honey, spew it on my titties. Spew, spew, spew. I want all of it. And we had a really great time. And we're going to get into what I ate and what I drank in a bit because, y'all, I still haven't stopped dreaming about a fried chicken sandwich. Seriously. Is there ever, when you meet someone like a man or someone you date and they just like, you think about them a few days later and then a few days later, I'm at the point in my life where I think about dishes. Okay. I had a fried chicken sandwich. It was so juicy. It squirted out onto the wall. We sat next to the wall, and when I bit into it, a little squirt of moisture went to the wall. I gave snail trail in my panties. I keep dreaming about it. I'm thinking, when can I go back into the city? Because it took me about an hour to get there. And when can I have that fried chicken sandwich again? It literally has been haunting my thighs and my dreams. Finally, this week, I'm going to a very exclusive event, but I'm going to take you with me. Don't worry. I'm going to Michael Kors is hosting one of his good friends who owns Decades. Decades was one of the original vintage stores back in the early 2000s here in Los Angeles that made a huge splash. And he is coming out with a caftan book. So I'm going to the Michael Kors in Beverly Hills. Oh, that's probably when I can get a chicken sandwich. Beverly Hills, what a thrill. Beverly Hills, what a thrill. Do you guys remember True Beverly Hills? That was such a good movie. Okay, the fashion. Should we start a Dear Juju movie club? Would that not just be so much fun? We can watch movies together and talk about it. I could start a Facebook group. Okay, what would be in my movie club? True Beverly Hills. Only You with Marissa Tomei and Robert Downey Jr. That 90s fashion was so fabulous, and the way she was looking for her love in Italy, I was like, this is my future. This is exactly what's going to happen to me. It's not, but I thought it was. French kiss. Hello. Who do we have to blow at Apple to get French Kiss on iTunes? Do you remember French Kiss? I mean, it's major. Meg Ryan, Kevin Kline, the South of France, 90s fashion. There was that supermodel girl. It was a major movie, and you can't find it anywhere. You can't find it on any of the rentals, any of the iTuneses, none of the Primeses. Can't find it anywhere. It's so annoying because I actually wore a periwinkle dress to my mother's wedding because I thought Meg Ryan looked so chic in that end dress. I mean, we got to start a petition or something. So we have to figure out who's in charge of that. Okay, what else? Funny Girl, Barbara Streisand, of course. Auntie Mame with Rosalind Russell was such a good one. I love Pride and Prejudice with Keira Knightley. Have you guys ever seen that one? It is shot so beautifully. And there's a scene where they're fighting, but then they almost kiss. Oh, baby. That is the scene. Sofia Coppola's Marie Antoinette. I have seen that more times than I would care to admit. That actually is what got me into directing, because I was like, I didn't know that a female could have such a point of view and have it look like candy. It kind of felt like there was a lane for females to be feminine in that space, and I ate it up like candy. That movie is candy. Best in Show. One time I watched it 3 times in a row on a flight, and I kept giggling at the same damn parts. I love Best in Show. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. It's about a dog show. It's hilarious. Okay, and lastly, a vintage film that is actually on iTunes, Desiree. Marlon Brando plays Napoleon, and it's actually the story of who he truly loved, because he married, Princess Josephine for the fame and the stature, but he loved this girl from the French countryside named Desiree. I love that movie so much. I almost named my daughter Desiree. Almost. But then I thought, her mom's on the internet slanging dick jokes. She's going to be growing up in Hollywood. She doesn't need a name that's close to the name Desire. That feels too much of a pull in her future, kind of a vibe. So we went with my original name, Georgiana, which is Pride and Prejudice, Mr. Darcy's little sister. DM me if you want to start a little Dear Juju movie club. I think that might be fun. Then we can talk about it. Is it just me? Or do you as well get caught up in the bullshit of this life and the stories that we tell ourselves, right? something on the outside needs to change so that I on the inside can be okay. No more. I'm done with it. And let me tell you, I'm reading this book right now called Letting Go. I'm going to put a link down below. There's also, I listened to this morning, a Joe Dispenza video that kind of cliffs notes this book. The book goes into deeper detail and kind of explores the emotions more. But if you want a Cliff Notes version, if you have 28 minutes, I'm also going to put the link of the Joe Dispenza thing. And one of my biggest takeaways, you know when someone says something in the right way that just freaking hits you and you're just like, oh shit, I felt that. One of my biggest takeaways from this book that was said is when you don't need anything from the world, then you are free to then enjoy the world as it is, with all its highs, with all its lows, with all its goods, with all its bads. And I thought then you can really just enjoy this human experience that we're having. And I know that feels really pulled back and really like, but I don't want to be detached. But it's not about that. You actually feel the emotions more, but then like a little cloud, just let it go and just let it pass. But you do have to feel them and you have to give them space and you got to breathe through it and you have to be aware. And I think the best place to start with like letting go and feeling emotions and not attaching a story to them, right? Because that's what we do. Blame, story, projection, and we just attach to it. It's just to feel it, give it space, no judgment, and let it go. And a great place to start is with your partner or your children. Honey, they will give you opportunity after opportunity to work on this. Okay? So the other day, my husband and I got in a little tiff, and I excused myself because I was feeling hot, it was all like beating up. And I went outside and I took a breath and I gave it space. And I thought, wow, what an exciting opportunity to have the chance to let this go. And honey, I could have blame. Honey, BLAME, blame, not me. Oh my God, there's me and blame. Maybe it's you that you need to be working on. Oh shit, is it Sunday, honey? I'm going to church over here, okay? Freak hump day, honey. Hump day is the new Sunday. Okay, we're going to church. I could have attached to a story, felt emotions. I could have blamed, pointed fingers. But why? And as soon as I let all that awareness of it, and then I reflected back on me, and then I really heard what he was saying. Then he came and apologized and I apologized and we just let it drift. We got out what we needed to say, make sure that we didn't hold any resentment, and then we just let it go. And it's just, life is a lot more enjoyable when we're not attached to these thoughts, emotions, and stories that we tell ourselves. Don't do it. All right, now let's get into some domestic goddessness, honey. Cooking. So one of the salads that I had at Son of a Gun in LA was a snap pea salad. Hold on, I have the ingredient. It was snap peas, rye croutons, radishes, dill, mint, and ranch dressing. Now, of course, it was fancy schmancy. We're not talking that they took ranch and just they put the ranch at the bottom of the plate, and then they assembled the snap peas and the snap pea greens, and then the radishes, and then the mint and dill on top with the croutons. It was to die for. I was obsessed with this salad. I've never also tasted anything like it. It was really nice because it was crunchy. It felt real full in the mouth, and I love when my mouth is full. And it was really tasty and delicious. And I thought, oh, snap peas. Shoot, I've never thought about that. That's a great idea. Now, don't waste the greens on a pea plant. They are edible. They're amazing. They're delicious. You can put them in the salad as well. You can also put them in pasta, like a lemon pasta, and use basil and some snap pea greens. Beautiful. Okay, cocktails. Oh my God. This cocktail that I had was one of the best I have had in a long time. It was called the Bittersweet Sunset. This is going to be my new go-to for summertime, okay? It had St. George Gin, which is one of my favorites. It had a sweet vermouth by Lo-Fi. Lo-Fi is a really great brand if you've never checked them out. They have aperitivos, they have vermouths, and it's always really herbaceous and lovely on the tongue. Then it had a Velvet Falernum. What the hell did you just call me? Okay, so if you don't know and if you love cocktails, Velvet Falernum is a beautiful thing to have in your bar. And what it basically is it's a spiced syrup. So it's from Barbados. Then they had an aperitivo by Fascia Bruto, which is a gorgeous, you could also use like a Campari. I think it's a switch out of Campari, just a different brand. It gives really that rhubarbness. All together, the gin, the aperitivo, the falernum, the vermouth, and then it had some orange bitters in there, and it was served in a coupe. You know what I should do? I should sit at the bar when I go for my fried chicken sandwich this week, when I go to Beverly Hills, and I should, kiss up to the bartender, and maybe she'll give me the recipe. We'll see. Okay, now Decor. Here's my question for you. In Decor, to taxidermy or not to taxidermy? That is the question. I have a taxidermied deer. From a decor standpoint, and not like an animal rights standpoint, right? With like, how could you ever? I'm just saying, be objective. I think it looks awesome. I know, you got to be woke, and how can you let a living thing? Let me tell you. There's a cultural process that happens in Texas. My brother-in-law has a deer lease, or had a deer lease, and he was with my family, and all the boys went hunting. Now, my husband is not a hunter, but he thought, when in Rome, and we did eat it. We cooked it. I made deer meatballs. We had deer for the whole week, okay? So we did eat it. And as a way to give praise to that culture, we taxidermied it, okay? Agree with it or not, this is where it came from. And we wanted to just have that kind of initiation and go with it when my husband and I were first getting married and having kids. And it was a nice way for him to kind of come into the family and bond, And I assume that if you're a vegan or, love animals, and an animal rights activist, obviously you're not going to believe in taxidermy. Is there a vegan who also loves taxidermy? Probably not. But I'm not a vegan. I eat meat. So might as well honor it, eat it, and decorate with it. Okay, now it's time for a little Q&A with some TNA. I got some good ones, y'all. Let's get into it. Dear Juju, I met this incredibly fabulous older woman at a dinner that I was catering, and she gave me her Instagram handle. She did mention that she thought I was beautiful and would follow me back. She hasn't yet, and I have DM'd her once already. This woman is the epitome of everything I want to be in life. No lie, Juju, so are you. Oh my gosh, thank you. And I would love to get to know her and pick her brain, but she has thousands of followers, and I don't want to come across too strongly. What should I do next? Well, let me resonate with you, okay? I have a producer friend who reached out to me, and he needed my services. He then also said, what's going on with your show? I've sold 3 shows of mine. Are you getting into rooms? Are you pitching to people? And I started bubbling. Right? And which is probably what you felt with your lady that you're like, I want to be like her. Oh my God, I'm going to start bubbling. I want to hear what she has to say. And I started bubbling, and I was like, I haven't yet even gotten into a room to pitch. But and he was like, we should meet at the Soho House and have cocktails and talk about this. And I said, yes, we should. I went out of town. My kids got sick, and I gave it like a few weeks, right? And I have his telephone number. Okay. So just because they're on Instagram or telephone number, or, sometimes you even date someone and you can't get a text back. Like, it doesn't matter if they're feeling it or not feeling it. They'll either text you back or not text you back. So I did what you did. I was like, okay, it's been a while. Things happened. Let me check in to see how the music video went. And I can remind him we still need to meet. I said, hey, just checking in. I'm back in town. How'd the music video go? He responded and said, oh, it went so well. And I said, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. We should meet and we should celebrate life, and we can also chew the fat over my show. And he was like, yes, definitely. Still didn't make a plan. Okay? You did your thing. You were like, oh, maybe she has a lot of followers. I'm just going to hit her up and DM her to make sure she knows that I've put myself out there. And that's all you can do. So put yourself out there like you did, hit her back up, put your best foot forward. I'm sure you said something clever and gorgeous and amazing. But that's it then. Okay? Now let it go. You got to let it go, because anything more than one time, you're going to look a little cuckoo. And I feel the same way. I'm right in your situation. I sent him my stuff. He didn't respond. I let it 3 weeks go by. Then the HGT. And I'm like, oh, this will be a good thing to send the producer. And I said, hey, remember, we got to have drinks. Hello. And still nothing. What can you do? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So maybe just follow them, like and comment, and whenever it's time for it to come around, it either will or it won't. You can't force anything in this life. But good for you for trying one more time, putting it forward, putting your IG forward. And by the way, you should know that you already are the woman that she is. Like, however you see her and view her, start working on viewing yourself like that, right? Because here's the thing, that when all this self-help work that I do, whatever story you have about a situation, your brain will start finding evidence to support that. It's just naturally how the brain works. Wherever you are, let's play a game, okay? Are you in your house? Are you in your car? Are you at the office? I don't know where you are, okay? But look around you right now and try to find everything that's red in the room, or red. Just look in your whole space. Do you see anything red? Okay, I'm doing it too. Okay, look. Oh, yeah. Okay. Got it? Great. Now, how many things did you find that were blue? Exactly. Point proven. And the thing that's crazy is if I say, wow, there's a lot of red in this room, then you'll go through and even pinks and oranges and all these things start to look more red, because your mind wants to put into place whatever story you have going. So you already are that woman, period. Start telling yourself that, and the evidence, you will start finding more evidence of your life, of it showing up. This is another good example. Have you ever dated someone? One time I dated this Brazilian jiu-jitsu fighter that was hung like an elephant's trunk. And he drove a navy blue Audi. And don't you know, when I was in my dickmatization, I saw navy blue Audis everywhere, right? You know, it's that theory. So that's the same thing. When you're like, I'm that bitch, you will start finding evidence. Or if you're like, I'm nothing, or I'm this, or I'm not worthy, your brain will gather evidence for that too. It's like the damn algorithm for Instagram. It don't care what you're into. Whatever you say, yeah, give me more of that, it's going to give it to you. So start telling yourself, even if you don't believe it, looking in the mirror, smiling, and being like, you are the woman that inspires the world. Okay? And then let your brain do its thing and find all that evidence to support that story, girl. Dear Juju, how to stop revenge bedtime procrastination and start getting up earlier. Hard as a mom and a business owner. I know, right? Because when you put the kids down, and sometimes they don't always go down in the timely manner that you would like, you just need like an hour to like decompress and to, have some alone time and to watch whatever you want that's not freaking Cocomelon or whatever they're watching, right? It's like that time at night when the house is quiet is so sacred. So I get it. But I do have some tips, okay? Number 1, go for a walk after dinner. That'll cue your circadian rhythm, and then you'll get all that fresh air, and then you'll be nice and tired when you lay your head on that pillow. Number 2, you have to cut the screen times before bed. It is one of the hardest things to do. These mofos know exactly what they're doing. They know that you get a little hit of dopamine, a little hit of serotonin. They know that that's how we get addicted to it. But if you want to go to sleep As soon as you put your kids down or have bedtime with them, you plug your phone in and you leave it. And then the third tip that I like that I've said on this podcast before is write down the 2 or 3 things that you're going to get done that next day. That takes the stress of the ruminating mind and it moves it into a plan of action. And even if it's 1 or 2 things, it shouldn't be 10 things because that's overwhelming. It shouldn't even be 5 things really. No more than 3 things that you're going to get done that day. That's a really big thing. So it's like, I have to do this, I have to do this, and I have to do this. And that really feeling of preparedness gives you the space to kind of rest. You put all those tips together and you, honey, sit down and get your beauty rest. You hear me? You need it. You're a mom, you're a business owner, you're a creative. Get your rest. Don't be playing with sleep, girl. Okay, that's the podcast. Don't forget that you are the star that you are. You are the answer that you are always looking for. Things in this life will come, they will go, there will be highs, there will be lows, but you having your internal peace is what is consistent to living a joyous and beautiful life. You're a star. You're made of the stuff of the stardust. It's in the periodic table, honey. We're made of the same stuff, so don't forget it. And a star is very powerful, and so are you. So I love you. I'll see you next week. Mwah, and I'm out.